Oh no, I'm live tweeting, or I'm live broadcasting this.
Really?
No.
Good. Thank you.
What did we, let's see. Oh, so we have ragtime, towel.
Let's not. Okay, are we gonna? Okay, if we're gonna do these jokes.
Kleenex.
So, Kleenex minute. The Kleenex minute.
Kleenex minute or Kleenex clock.
Washcloth hour.
Washcloth hour. Week of towels.
Now, if anybody listening to this podcast right now understands what we are teaking about, Jeezy crazy. This is like Jay-Z crazy. That's a new thing. I'm going to start saying
Dust mop calendar.
Swiffer. What's an alliteration for that?
Swiffer Almanac.
Almanac, that's a stretch. That's a stretch.
Yeah, all right. And welcome to the Something Random podcast, where sometimes we talk about movies, sometimes we talk about television, but we always talk about something random. I'm your host, Charles Joseph Kelly.
And I am your co-host with the most Michael
what?
C. Macbeth, the most Legos.
Probably out of this, the three of us? Yes, that is very
with
true.
The most Legos.
Sorry I interrupted you. I got really excited.
You were so excited about what? I don't even know what.
I just had to say, hey. This is Joel, back at it again.
With the Vans?
With the white Vans.
I do have to explain something really quick to our audience.
Please, yes.
This is the second time we've done this episode.
Oh, you're giving away our secrets.
It wasn't that long. It was only about 30 seconds.
And then we realized that the jokes were just... It wasn't working.
Dan Daniel's a joke from last year.
Sometimes you just need a take two, and we don't take a lot of twos.
I can count on one hand the times we've started the show over. So
that's very
you
true.
You can count on one hand the number of take twos that we took.
That we took. Yeah. Yeah, that's correct.
Yes. Yes. So how are you guys doing this week?
When you take two, it only affects you. It takes a toll on the taker too.
That's good. We're inventing a lot of new limericks and stuff today. It's wonderful.
I'm good, by the way. Thank you for asking.
Yes, I'm doing well as well.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I've had a lot of coffee today.
Same. I took multiple twos today.
Poop joke. Fecal matter.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys are doing okay. We seemed a little.
I'm doing okay. You know, our last show, I've been working so hard. I was just like,
you forgot your name.
I couldn't remember. Yeah. I couldn't remember George McFly's name. I pronounced my last name wrong. I was delirious.
Really loopy. I think we are all really tired because of all the things we have going on.
Right. But I also think that. It's not just last episode. This is something that's been kind of like building to that moment. Like that was kind of like the breaking moments. I think
we're over the hump. Is what you're saying.
Yeah. But I think we need to grow as people, right?
Sure.
Yeah. I think we need to just spend some time. How did you guys feel about going around the table, just saying some constructive criticism?
Let's do that. Let's start with you. Why don't you give me something that I do that gets on your nerves and possibly on the nerves of people listening?
So, okay. Joel.
Yes.
We talked about this before the episode. You okay, I need to put this as constructive as Joel.
Now,
I need to tell you something.
Yeah.
You tend to breathe in a little bit too loud. And it, Joel, okay, this is a serious thing. Like, I know we're being constructive, but what I need you to do is to not do that.
I don't like that.
Okay, so what I'm going to do...
Joel.
This is the last one, okay? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be Chocolate Rain Guy, and I will breathe away from the mic. I will breathe away from the microphone.
Okay.
Watch, I'm going to try it. Hey... I have an idea, and I'm going to breathe away from the microphone. How does that work?
It got better and better.
My neck's going to get tired.
The first one, there was a little bit of a, as you were moving away from the mic.
I think you're still going to hear it, but it won't be there quite as loud. And
it's better.
That was good.
But I might give myself a lash of a whip.
you could always try the limbo thing that I do under the microphone.
I have tried that. Don't work.
You did that? Okay, so...
I just bumped the microphone.
Mike...
It's okay.
Okay, I can't say it. I gave Joel... I'm not going to give you criticism, too. Joel, you need to give Mikeal criticism for last week.
But, we'll all keep it positive.
I think...
Yeah, keep it super positive, hyper positive. I think your breathing is wonderful. Your breath smells really good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. But you breathe in a lot.
Okay, here's the thing.
Oxygen's good.
In all seriousness, I don't know why my breathing shows up louder than everybody else's, because I don't... It's not like I'm doing it on purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
No, because everyone's
it's
got
very weird.
different shape and style to how their breathing works, and it functions differently for everybody.
Yeah.
So no worries.
Mikeal,
Yes.
I think
Stay positive.
that
Stay
sometimes
positive.
when you have something to say, it takes
Stay
a little bit longer
positive.
than it could
Stay positive.
if you had the words at the beginning of the sentence as opposed to the end.
Gotcha. So you're saying you're saying that you would like me to complete thoughts quicker.
Oh my God, that was great.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll just rattle things off, even if I don't know how a sentence is going to end. I can just keep moving along and see what happens, where it takes me.
You did it again. That was brilliant.
You did it so
right.
well.
We're off to a good start, and you don't even have to turn your head a different direction to do it.
It's like an adventure that we're going on this together.
This is good. Yeah.
I dig it.
It's a journey.
I like that. Thank you. Thank you for the helpful tip.
All right,
You're
Mikeal.
welcome.
Mikeal.
Oh yeah, it's your turn.
Yes. I'm to give you constructive criticism.
Yes.
All right. Well, I will say this as quickly as I can because I don't want to take my time, But I also want to be articulate and make sure that everyone can understand what I'm saying, and we're not going to speed this up in post, right? Anyways.
You're doing great.
Thanks. So I think you could benefit from something along the lines of a word of the day type thing. Because you tend to fall back on the same 3 or 4 adverbs and adjectives when you're describing something. So if a movie is choice, or things are super fancy, or things
incredible.
Yes. So some variety.
I would like. Thank you.
Yeah.
I would like to mention that whenever I say it is so choice, that is quoting Ferris Bueller's Day Off every single time.
Fair.
And that's the reason for that. But I agree. My vocabulary does need a little work.
Okay.
Just a little upgrade,
Yes.
And yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you have anything you'd like to send to us.
Oh man, are we going to open that door?
So, gentlemen,
that we shall improve upon.
So are we okay? Are we okay after last week? Mikeal, Mikeal, you didn't know what show you were in.
I know. Like I said, I was really, really loopy. It just
delirious
with tiredness.
Also, Mikeal, I really have to apologize to you. I was really rude to you last week.
What did you say again?
I was just super negative about your lifestyle choices, man.
Just super negative.
You got him so upset that Mikeal was cussing so much.
That's true. Abnormal amounts of cussing was happening for me.
I was going to go with the cussing thing, but since it was just during the one show, I decided to...
It might just be an anomaly. We don't know.
One other thing, Joel, that I need to bring up while we're in this safe space.
Mm-hmm.
Your Tom Hanks impression last week.
What about it?
Lackluster.
It was rough, man. Yeah. Mikeal and I looked at each other and it was just like, yeah, that was good. But your Mayo is really good. So
I'll continue to work on that.
Yeah. You know what? You normally hit it. It just for some reason last week we hit it.
I don't know.
And we just quit. We just quit it.
I think we should just take that mulligan.
Is that the one? Is that
I think so. Yeah. That's our one. Maybe for the year.
For the year. Okay.
It says we can't do that badly again. I mean, that's given also our less than great live show just because of a lot of things that went on, and we learned from it. We learned a lot from that experience.
What do we learn from last week?
Cement an audience first. Oh, I thought you meant from the live show.
Yes.
Oh, that one, yeah. So
From last week,
what did we learn?
I may need to practice saying my own name, but I know that's hard for a lot of people. So
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Talking about last week, I do have something to bring up, guys. Specifically, an update to what are we calling this? Bitegate? Beyonce Gate?
Oh, yeah.
What should we
the
call
thing
it?
that Joel found out.
Well, hashtag Who Bit Beyonce is the thing.
Yes,
but,
we need to call it. We need to rebrand who bit Beyonce. So how are we going to do that? Are we going to go with Gate because that seems a little usual that people do, and there's an issue they Watergate it up.
Let's call it Beyonce Gate. I couldn't think of anything
Beyond
else.
Gate. Yeah, I don't know.
Beyond Gate?
Beyond Gate.
No, no.
Bite once.
Bite once.
Queen Bite.
Queen Bite.
Bite once.
Queen
No,
Bite.
Queen Bite.
I think Queen Bite works better.
Queen Bite.
Yeah.
Beite? No.
Queen
Beite.
Beite.
Beite. Okay.
So
Yes.
she beite because, in fact, that the situation has blown over. Sonalathon, right? Who you brought up last week.
Yeah, who I'm actually not even familiar with, but I just read its article, so I brought it up.
Well, I mean, apparently, Sonalathon is in one of my favorite movies of all time, but that's besides the fact. But Sonalathon is, in fact, the woman who bit Beyonce. Like, it has been reported. It actually confirmed Sonalathon. But here's the other thing. Reportedly, she was on the drugs.
The drugs.
The drugs. All of them? I don't know. They just said Sonalathon is on drugs.
Oh, how awful for her.
And so Beyonce didn't press charges because
No, she's like, my friend is on the drugs and she bit my face. Now,
it's not like the bath salts incident.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to mention is like out in Florida, if you're doing bath salts and you bite somebody in the face, you usually eat their face. Was this kind of one of those situations? Thoughts?
I don't think it was because those people are unstoppable zombies.
That's true, yes. And speaking as someone who was bitten in the ear by a friend and coworker this last weekend,
Wait.
Huh?
You were bitten?
Didn't break skin.
No,
We're
but
okay.
I'm 100% sure Sonalathon didn't break Beyonce's skin, but
Right.
it's still fucking creepy.
Wait.
creepy.
Were you working with Sonalathon?
Maybe in disguise. Maybe she was just so high that she's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Johnstown, Colorado. I'm going to dress up like a lighting designer. And
I wouldn't put it past her.
yeah.
Mikeal, question number one. Was this bite on your neck?
No, it was on my ear, I said.
On your ear?
On the cartilage, the earlobe.
It was an ear nibble? That is so sexual.
But it was not a nibble. It was bite down. Like
she was trying to pierce your earlobe.
It started out feeling like a nibble, but then it felt like an attempted piercing.
Now,
Was this person on bath salts?
that's question number 2.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Question number 3. Did they have a thick Transylvanian accent?
Good evening.
No, but that's pretty easy to disguise. I mean, we are in a theater, and everyone is very familiar with accents and dialects.
But
so
is a lighting designer? Think about that.
He also has directed and done other elements of the theater. So yeah, I'd say so.
So question number 4. Have you been out in the sun today? Oh,
Wait.
guys, Michael's a freaking vampire.
Oh boy.
Oh no!
I didn't know that ear bites because there's very low blood flow to the cartilage areas of your body,
Doesn't matter.
so
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Okay.
As the moment a vampire tooth touches thine skin,
Let me see your hand.
see no so what.
Your veins still work.
Okay. And also, if I recall the quote-unquote science, that they not only have to bite you, it's not just a bite, they mostly drain your blood, and then they have to replace it with a little bit of what they have.
oh,
It's a fluid exchange.
It is. It is truly a fluid exchange.
We are spending so much time on this, but I'm so interested in this and nothing else.
It's Mikeal Gate.
Mikeal Gate. Okay, did you have red wine after the fact? Because you can replace some wine with some blood.
Oh my gosh, I did. I did have red wine that night. By accident. Somebody offered me a Nalgene bottle, and I thought it was water, and then I took a sip, and I was like, that is definitely not water. Oh, my word.
Guys, okay, so next thing, we need to have a conversation about this where we discuss what happens if Mikeal goes. Joel, is it just you and me?
Why would he not be able to do the show as a vampire?
It's okay.
I don't want to become a vampire, man. I'm gonna have to.
As long as he promises not to bite us.
Okay. Are you
just have to host a something random blood drive? That's all.
Okay. I don't know about that. Are you thinking that you're like Spike in the first few seasons, or are you Spike later on when you're good, Spike?
I think either Angel or Spike later on. Yes.
So later on,
probably more so Angel, because Spike was he went through some really rough patches.
So guys, we've been on this for 15 fucking minutes. How are you doing this week, and what the hell are you watching?
Oh, well, as you know, I've been continuing Westworld. That is a trip.
So using like some very, because I've seen the entirety of the show, right?
Sure, yeah.
Without spoiling what happens in Westworld, how can you explain this show?
Ooh, okay. Imagine if a Rubik's Cube had boobs and a cowboy hat.
Oh, what?
I think that's the best analogy that I can come up with.
That's very true. It's all about puzzles, man.
It's a Western puzzle with lots of nudity.
Lots of boobs. A good amount of dick too.
Hey,
they have a surprising
equal opportunity nudity.
Yeah,
that's a good opportunity nudity. That's a mouthful.
That is a good band name. Writing that down in the
I'm gonna have to check that show out now.
Equal opportunist nudist.
Stop it.
Equal opportudes nudes. Joel, what have you been watching?
Oh, there was one
okay.
more.
Sorry.
It's okay. I also finally got around to watching that movie, The Circle, with Emma Watson and Tom Hanks and what is his name? He played Finn.
John Boyega.
John Boyega. Yes. Interesting piece. Interesting movie.
Okay, so what's the premise of this movie?
The premise is essentially The Circle is a company that is an overarching, all-inclusive identity protection social media network.
So like Facebook.
Essentially, it is a reference to the monster that is Facebook and what would happen if it were to continue unchecked, like going to the extreme of invasion of privacy and all these things that Emma Watson's coming in cold, just started working at this company and noticing all these really bizarre things. I don't want to give away too much more than that. I think it's conversation worthy. It's worth watching just to have those talks about it because there are good points raised. I didn't enjoy the plot
or the movie.
Well, I didn't enjoy the plot twists. Mm-hmm. They didn't strike me as
interesting.
Yeah, interesting or powerful in any way.
Okay.
Also, Emma Watson was slipping in and out of her American accent. It was really odd because she was doing this movie with Karen Gillan as her best friend, and Karen Gillan was keeping the Scottish accent, but Emma Watson had to be American, so she couldn't just use her normal voice.
When that happens in movies, there is no excuse for that. You are not only an actor that should know better, but there are directors and dialect coaches. I don't understand how that happens so often.
Absolutely. And it was so early on in the movie that I noticed the first few slip-ups. And it's like, seriously? If you're going to do that, wait till, shooting stuff for the end. Yes, I agree. There shouldn't be an excuse for that. And Natalie Portman in V for Vendetta, fantastic British accent. I mean, almost seamless. I couldn't find a flaw in it. Granted, I'm an American listening to an American affect a British accent, but I did not notice any issues. I feel the movie The Circle, though, is written by some middle-aged guys who are like, oh, the Facebook and the millennials are all okay with this invasion of privacy kind of thing.
Which is, I always find that ironic that people are like, oh, the millennials and their Facebook, and like all of the millennials I know are like, bye Facebook, I'm leaving. This is fucking weird. And it's all the old folks on Facebook nowadays.
Absolutely. So things that are worth talking about, but not the best plot twists and points. And Tom Hanks had such a bit role that he was an important character. He was the CEO of the company, but he wasn't very prominent in the film.
Was he a villain?
They did kind of go that direction with it. But they made him like this likable villain. He was a Steve Jobs type, essentially.
Okay,
so very social, very very clever, funny, and he would make these jokes to cover the underlying sinister.
Right. Steve Jobs was known very specifically for being an absolute asshole to everybody in his life. Like, that is like a known thing that a lot of people talk about. But it was like if Steve Jobs
was social.
Yes. Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I dig it.
I would say that. But yeah, again, I think worth the watch, but not worth paying money for. And it is on Amazon Prime.
Hey, perfect.
Yeah.
Joel.
All right. I am still on my movie list because it's very, very long, so I'm going to throw out a couple things I watched this week. Watched Citizen Kane. Never seen it before. It was
Rosebud.
Yeah, it was cool, but it's like
sled.
I know. I
can't do a Family Guy joke. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to do it.
That's my bit.
I know, it's your bit.
Bat.
It's been called the best movie in the world, and I'm just like,
So has The Godfather, and I was just discussing with somebody how unaffected we were by that film.
Citizen Kane did amazing things for the time that it was made. Mm-hmm. Currently, it's not that amazing.
It just doesn't hold up, I think, as well as so many other things.
Like, I think when something is a stepping stone or revolutionary in its time, I mean, if you compared the original Star Wars A New Hope movie to other amazing sci-fi of today, it just wouldn't hold up, but it set that standard.
Yeah, and the performances were great and everything. It was just like the story was.
It wasn't really.
It didn't hold me as much.
Yeah, it was hard.
I did, however, watch Mommy Dearest for the first time, which was great.
Mommy Dearest, which one's that?
Faye Dunaway as Joan Crawford.
Yep. Yeah, that one's great.
Oh my gosh, she's scary, and it was great, and it was brilliant. I also watched Her,
which is great.
Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah, he falls in love with this computer. And
Chris Pratt is in that movie, just in the background. You don't even see his face. He's just like,
funny.
Hey man. Here's my thing with Her. I heard it was so great and everything, and I kind of, after hearing the plot synopsis or the whatever, I kind of was like, this sounds kind of lame, but it's got all these great reviews and everybody says it's so great, so I'm going to check it out. And it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And it's actually kind of scary because it takes place in the future, but it's not the distant future.
Right.
And it's like we might be going that way where people start falling in love with computers. And so anyway.
I do have a question about Her. Mm-hmm. Would you play the video games that were in Her? He has very specific video games that he plays.
Oh, where he's walking with the I don't know.
He's walking
with the
because his name is Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin is walking in certain.
He buys this video game, right? And it's like VR, right? But you don't have to wear a headset to play it, right? So, and then this like little dude pops up, right? Like little character, and the little character is like, "Fuck you, you fucking fuck," and then it's just like. Oh, the little guy's cursing. It's cute because he knows the bad words. It's great.
I probably not. I usually don't get into those, like, what do you call them? Like one games? What do you call those?
Oh, first-person shooters?
First-person games. Not even necessarily shooting games, but like where you're running around all over a map and stuff. Those 3D games, I just don't get into them. But anyway.
Fair enough.
I also watched, you talked about it a couple of weeks ago, the Netflix Nailed It.
Yes.
The baking. Have you seen it yet?
We've talked about it a couple times.
Yeah, I talked about it last week too. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
He's repeating himself.
I watched it with my cousin and her husband, and we were dying.
So good.
They
I
need to have. She's on one of the first episodes. Her name is Cindy Weinstock, and she's the little tiny Jewish woman with the giant glasses.
She's amazing.
She needs to be on every show. I don't know why she's not.
So this woman, big old glasses, older woman, right? So there's and she's one of the judges, right? She disappears from filming.
Bored. She just starts walking around the set and going through food and pans.
And she's like, I'm going to have a piece of licorice. I don't care if they need this for the scene.
Then she goes, I like this pan. It doesn't have the grooves in it like mine. I'm going to keep this.
What a stick. I love it.
So that
she
was
great. I loved her.
Did anybody look at Jesus Christ Superstar Live last night?
I didn't get to.
I was trying to watch it today, and I didn't have time.
I didn't finish it, so I'm going to finish it. We'll talk about it next time.
Yeah. Let's
but
make
spoiler. Jesus
survives.
Comes back. He's like, you thought I was dead? April Fools.
Seriously, though, the biggest thing I wanted to talk about was, of course, the Roseanne premiere.
Oh, yes.
This was a big deal for me because for most of you that know, Roseanne's my favorite show. And all I'm going to say is it's as good as it ever was. A lot of people were bitching that they were fighting too much and complaining and being too political and blah, blah, blah. And I just, like, to that I say, if you think that, then you weren't paying attention when it was on the air the first time. That's what the show was like. They didn't get political before. Yes, they did. They talked about abortion. They talked about gun control. They talked about drugs. They talked about
and it wasn't
racism.
It wasn't like just talking, too. It was a conversation.
Yeah, political doesn't mean talking about politicians. I mean, it can mean that, but that's not specifically what politics are. So,
right.
But it felt to me like episode 1 of season 10 as opposed to a reboot or a revamp, which is what I wanted it to feel like.
Right.
They didn't take the time to introduce or reintroduce characters and all that kind of stuff. It just felt like we're back. It just felt like they were back. And I liked it. I thought it was awesome. Did you guys watch it or have you looked at it?
I haven't yet. I've not watched. I didn't watch anything this week. I have had mini spurts.
You are a busy man.
Yeah, and I can't talk about any of the projects that I'm working on. So.
Yeah.
So mine this week, gentlemen, talking about how you hate first-person video games. Mine's a first-person video game. I think I've talked about this on the podcast before. I'm not sure. It's called The Witness.
Okay.
And the whole premise of The Witness is it's a first-person game, kind of like, did you guys ever play Myst, the classic game where you'd travel across this island and try to solve puzzles and stuff like that?
I don't think so.
It's like that, but it meets Sudoku puzzles, which is really cool.
Okay.
And so it's all based around puzzles that you solve in this world. It is absolutely fantastic because you start off this game not knowing how to play it, right, at all. So you'll go through in the game without any dialogue, without any text. We'll teach you how to play the game.
Okay.
Right? So for instance, there's a black circle and a white circle, right? You have to cut between those to separate them within the puzzle, right? They can't be touching within the puzzle. So, and it teaches you that specific move, right? So then your brain learns, all right, if they're two different colors and they're circles, right, they have to be separated. What if you add a third circle? What if you add a fourth different color? What if you add different shapes? And then you'll find later on, you run into a puzzle and you're like, I have no idea what this means, right? And then you'll just walk away, play the game for another couple hours, and the game will teach you through another set of puzzles how to do this other move, which takes you back to the ones that you missed before, that you can go into those areas, right? And the coolest thing that I think a lot of people talk about when it comes to this game is how you solve puzzles, right? Or how your brain works when it's solving puzzles. So this is a consistent thing that happens with a bunch of people, and it's very cool, psychologically. But first off, if you play this game, it's on iPhones. You can buy it for $10. I highly recommend it. It's great.
Myst?
No, it's called The Witness.
The Witness. Oh, Myst was the other one.
The classic one. Yeah.
Okay.
So when you get stumped on a puzzle, right? First off, don't cheat. There are codes to look up all puzzles are. Let it sit. Sleep on it overnight.
Okay.
In the morning, you will be able to solve that puzzle. like consistently from what I hear from people, like you were able to like in your sleep like resolve how that puzzle works and then come back to it and then immediately solve it.
That actually sounds like something that I would like. There's an old game called Quirk. It was Qwirk, and it was kind of like that. There weren't any instructions for Quirk. It was just this little dude, and you pushed balls around a room and pushed cubes around a room, and you had to fill in holes and stuff. And you had to make certain things disappear, and you had to build towers to get up on. But they didn't tell you how to do anything. You had to figure it all out yourself.
It's like an old school digital escape room, almost.
Kind of, yeah. So that sounds along the same lines. I downloaded a game this week that I tried. It's fun, but they tell you how to do everything. Yeah. And every time something new is introduced, they say, "Okay, now try this." Kind of like they do on Candy Crush. I think does that too. And so
I did an escape room recently with some friends, and the employees were helping us so much more than we were wanting.
Yeah.
And then also there were we were thinking, because most of us had been doing several escape rooms together, in sequence, we were thinking too hard about certain clues. Like, no, literally the combination is written on this big ass sign on the box.
Okay.
And okay, wow, I didn't realize it was that easy. Okay, moving on. And also they said, you get 3 hints and you can still be on the leaderboard, if you use these 3 hints. It is too many. And they were offering us hints beyond that when we weren't even asking for hints.
Like, leave us alone. Let us figure it out.
Let us think this through. What is the problem? Are you just wanting your success rate to go up or what? Anyways, that's what that made me think of.
I might check that out, though. That sounds fun.
I'll let you play a little bit on my phone before we boogie out of here today.
Oh, all right.
Will you play through the first level or something? It's good, dude. It's super, super good.
Cool.
Super, super good.
So good. It's so good.
What's another adverb besides super?
Choice.
Great.
Great. But
lovely.
No, adverb.
Lovely.
Because you're using super as an adverb.
It's a very lovely thing.
Works for me.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's a very lovely game. It's gorgeous. The music is great. It's fun. When, like, earlier today, I was trying to solve a puzzle for like 20 minutes. The moment I did it, sitting next to Mikeal, I was like, yeah, it feels fucking good.
He made an Andy Samberg jizz in my pants face.
It wasn't just making the face, let's be real.
I wanted to keep it, PG 13, 14-ish.
I think whether he did it or not is already past.
True.
Anyway.
All righty, moving right along. Do you have a question for us, Charles?
I do. So, question for you guys. And this comes from us from online. I don't have the name in front of me, but that's okay.
I don't either.
Yeah, that's fine. What are the most memorable TV episodes featuring regular cast members in different roles?
Can we break down this question a little bit?
Sure.
So, first off, television. It's that thing that, you watch.
Yes.
That's...
What else?
That's... Can we be real here? Television has become pretty amorphous because Netflix is considered television, but it also has movies, but it has television. So what's the difference there?
Anyway.
But besides the point. So then the next thing is episodes, which... No, I'm not going to...
All right.
So, like, what shows that have cast members, but they play different roles?
Meaning...
In addition to their regular role.
The same actor plays different roles in the same show?
Think Community when Abed also plays evil Abed. Because that's 2 separate characters.
Okay, that helps. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think the one that comes to me first is Stargate does this like later on in the show where they start pitching this idea for a Stargate movie like within the show. And they start doing other episodes of television. They do Star Trek. They do Farscape. They do all these other jokes.
Team America.
They do Team America with them, and it's good.
It was the 200th episode was amazing.
Yeah, so that's the one that comes to mind for the most part first.
That's a good one. I think a really obvious one is Friends, where Lisa Kudrow plays her twin,
who is also in a different show.
There you go.
Yeah, did we figure that out? That her twin sister was on the other show?
Mad About You or something?
Something like that, yeah. Where
what was her sister's name?
Truman. No. Theremin.
She talked about this on RuPaul's podcast. I think it was...
We just talked about this like a couple weeks back.
I think it was Mad About You.
Yeah.
Because that was on around the same time. For me, I have a couple that come to mind. Some are more... bigger staples than other, but on Bewitched, Elizabeth Montgomery, who played Samantha, would also play her cousin Serena.
Yes.
And come in and start trouble. And she was so great. She was so great. And then she and Agnes Moorehead would switch off, and she would play her mother playing her, as in her mother was disguised as her. Or vice versa and stuff like that. That always was great too. The Munsters did it where Fred Gwynne played his twin. That happens often. He played his twin brother, and he had an accent like this instead of his normal, thing, which was funny. And then they also did one where something happened to him in the basement, the laboratory, and he ended up looking like a normal person. So that was kind of funny too, because he was playing the same character, but with, he looked so different.
Here's another one. I might need to fact check this because I'm not sure if my timeline is completely correct. But you don't watch Big Bang Theory, but have you seen Big Bang Theory?
I've seen it, yeah.
Okay. So the voice of Howard's mother, who's never on screen, I believe that actress passed away a few years ago.
Okay.
And actually the lady who plays Bernadette filled in that voice.
Oh.
Don't quote me on that, but that is what I think happened.
Okay, that's interesting. I did not know. That's who plays his wife now?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of funny. He actually married his wife.
Right.
Or married his mother.
Married his mom.
That's weird.
Another one I think of that was like a big one for me was huge watching Married with Children when I was growing up. I was a huge fan of that show. They did one where Peggy was telling a story to Seven, who was their kid later on in later seasons, and it was... They acted out with the story she was telling, which was pretty much a romance novel. And Peggy was playing the girl that got kidnapped by pirates, played by Jefferson and Al, and Steve came back, and that was fun too.
Right,
that was a good one.
The only other one that I can really think of right now that's kind of like that is Arrested Development with Andy Richter playing all of the Richter
quintet,
but he wouldn't play Andy. He would play the Richter quintuplets except Andy Richter. So
Andy Richter was the one who decided not to have his image used.
Yeah, exactly.
So they blurred out face.
Yeah, they blurred out. Yeah, it's great.
Although digital compositing tells us his face probably looks something like this, and they would just move one of the other ones.
Oh my God, that's funny. That guy is hilarious. Yeah. There's so much more to him than what you see on Conan because he's hilarious on that show, but that guy has got some stuff up his sleeve.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, listen. We are going to move on. I have a sponsor for you this week.
All right. What's the pitch?
This week, this show has been brought to you by Jellybeans flavored like other candies.
Yup.
Because, with Easter this week, I've been eating Jellybeans that taste like Starburst, Jellybeans that taste like Sweet Tarts, that taste like licorice, several other things.
I discovered a new one this year. I'm pretty sure I discovered it new this year. And it is the Trolley Bright Crawlers.
Yes.
The sour gummy worms.
That's good Tech Week food.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about this specifically, those jelly beans, because they're like, all the sour flavors, and they've got like citrus fruits, like lemon, which was like that was like a little rough sometimes, and the orange. And even the raspberry and the cherry, or not raspberry, but the cherry and the apple. But then they go, and then strawberry, which is like the sweetest frickin' thing. And I was like, that's not a sour.
How about rawberry?
Rawberry is good. Or gun, was that the other one? Yeah.
All new flavors like banana, fizzbitch, and gun.
Yes.
I lost my mind the first 5 times listening to when they hit gun.
So, have you ever... This is a reference to an online video called Power Thirst.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. We've already talked about it on the show. Yeah,
we'll move on. But also, I think really quick we should go around the circle. Favorite jelly beans, Mikeal. Being a what would be like a what would be no, I was thinking like jelly bean sommelier. So you know what to pair your jelly beans with.
Oh my.
So what is your favorite jelly bean?
Honestly, the discovery of the bright crawlers.
That's your favorite of all time?
I mean, Starburst is a classic. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
It holds up, but bright crawlers is a new contender, and I love sour things so much more than other candies. So
I dig it. Joel, favorite jelly bean of all time?
I also like Starburst, but I gotta tell you this.
I feel like it's too.
No, wait a minute.
It's too mainstream to say Starburst.
Listen, I like Starburst a lot, but I gotta stick with the classic jelly beans. The Brock's jelly beans.
Okay, Brock's is good. I was like Jelly Belly.
Specifically,
Jelly Bellies are gourmet. They are
school,
and you cannot have a handful of those.
I can't do a handful of them because you could get popcorn and kiwi in the same bite, and that's no
weird.
good. Specifically, white, black, and orange are my 3 favorite flavors.
Okay.
Of Brock's.
Well, I mean, like
jelly
the black is like that classic black licorice.
licorice,
And black licorice is absolutely delicious.
beans. Yes,
It is.
I'm glad that the 3 of I hear that so rarely that
people
like,
hate it. Yeah.
well, I mean, yeah.
Oh, I hate it that
It's
an
very
acquired-
polarizing.
It's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
What about you? What jelly beans?
The best ones of all time. Nerds jelly beans.
I knew you were going to say that.
Okay,
Nerds jelly beans are so good.
Texture-wise, there's so much happening.
Yeah, have you had these?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so to our audience who hasn't experienced the Nerds jelly beans, welcome. It's amazing. It's like a classic jelly bean with a hard candy outside, and it is so weird and different and new, and I love it. Also, the Laffy Taffy ones are pretty solid.
Laffy Taffy's good. I was going to also say the Nerds Ropes are just as good as the Bumpy Jelly Beans.
Oh, God, I completely agree.
Yeah.
What's the nice thing about the Nerds ropes? Tie 2 of them together, you've got a double rope.
You can hang yourself with sugar. I don't know.
That got dark.
I don't like Nerds ropes. I'd just rather eat Nerds on their own.
I love Nerds, but I can't mix them with my other favorite snack. I think I've talked about this. Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, we need to move on.
Nerds, I have a 6 degrees for you, gentlemen.
Okay.
Seeing as how we just had Easter not too long ago, and we were just talking about jelly beans,
When was that?
right? I was thinking about actors who have played a Jesus role.
Okay.
All right. So,
Is it Willem Dafoe? Is it going to be... Oh,
no,
man.
I would like you to connect Jim Caviezel, Passion of the Christ,
Okay. Oh, right.
with Danny Pudi.
Yeah, he has.
He did play Jesus in that episode.
I don't know either of those people.
Also, added bonus here, I would like you to get there by way of one Jesus allegory. Now, you can use an obvious one, or you can try to convince me of something that's incredibly obscure that says, no, this character was definitely a Jesus-type character because of XYZ.
All right.
So,
All right.
quick reminder for our listeners, we play this. You have to connect 2 actors within 6 steps or less. You may use television. You have to know the name of the actor and the name of the movie or the TV show. 5 minutes on the clock, gentlemen, and we are going to take a word from our sponsors.
So, who the fuck is Jim Caviezel?
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
He was in Passion of the Christ. I heard him say that.
Hey there, friends. This is your humble host, Charles, just checking in to see how things are going. Hey, I am writing up a new script and think there might be the perfect role for you. Do you want to check out the script? So we've got a couple quick things to mention before getting back to the show, so let's get this show on the road. Number 1, we are working on tweaking some of the bits on the podcast and should have some cool things to chat about in the near future. We're actually even going to be doing one of our postmortems in a few episodes down the road. Cool stuff is happening. And number 2, as always, we're in need of your help to keep the show going. We're looking for questions to answer on this podcast and would love to hear from you, our audience. So email us at podcast@something.random.media.com or check us out on all of our social medias. Clickable links are in the description of this podcast. you should also check out our other 2 shows. Number 1 being Talk and Roll, which is a D&D real play podcast. And number 2 is Working Out the Kinks, which is an inclusive sex and sexuality podcast. Both are rad, really rad. Give them a go if you need something new to listen to. As always, thank you so much for listening to the show, and I love you.
Let's hear your connection real quick here, and we'll see how we feel.
All right. So, but here's the problem. Can you name a Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase movie right off the bat while I list these slow enough to get you to that point? Okay.
Ow. Yeah, I got one in my head right now.
Okay. So we go from Jim Caviezel, who is in that Jesus Christ
Passion
of the
Passion of the Christ.
Passion of the Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh my God.
To Mel Gibson, who was in that same movie, right?
Yep, his hand.
So that's one, right? Mel Gibson. Which way do we go again?
He was in Casper.
Casper the Friendly Ghost with Dan Aykroyd, right? Who is in
Nothing But Trouble with Chevy Chase.
Okay, so that's 3.
Or Three Amigos, or any of those. And then to Community with
4. So
with Danny
Pudi.
Because that's where you were going.
I'm so sorry.
Now, if you're going with the Jesus thing, technically, Bill Pullman dies in the movie and comes back to life.
Yes, he does.
As a ghost.
But then he comes back.
He comes back to
Oh,
life.
he does come back. Okay.
Yeah, because the machine that they invented, he comes back to life.
Now, is that
that would sell? I think.
Okay, in the biblical story, check me if I'm wrong, I don't think anybody created a machine to bring Jesus back to life.
No, that didn't happen in the Bible that I recall. I have read the book all the way through, and
all right. So it's up to you, man, if you want to count it.
I will go ahead and count it because that is a good solid effort, good argument skills, and you moved on from trying to convince me that Fletch was a Jesus allegory. So
okay, good.
So I'll accept it.
Okay,
but I will show you my path, which I am proud to say that with one exception, I did it all in my head without IMDb.
You didn't use the
I didn't until one thing. I was just looking for the clincher. So what I had was Jim Caviezel, and one of my all-time favorite movies is The Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah, he was
in. That was the one I didn't want to give away because he was in that with Guy Pearce.
Yes, he was.
That took me straight to Memento with not only Carrie-Anne Moss but also Joe Pantoliano.
Can you try that again?
Pantolinos?
One more time.
I'm
just gonna leave it there.
So both of those people were in The Matrix.
Yes, they were.
With Keanu Reeves.
That's
playing a Jesus role, one, Neo, the savior of the world. That was where I went with that. And then he was in Take Your Pick, Speed, or Lake House with Sandra Bullock, who did The Proposal featuring Betty White. Who was an anthropology teacher.
How many steps is that?
That sounds like 6 steps exactly.
Okay. That sounded like it almost felt like one too many.
Nope.
Okay.
I could have gotten there sooner, actually. I found a lot of other avenues after the fact.
That's awesome.
Because I was looking for Chris Evans or Zachary Quinto because of Danny Pudi being in The Winter Soldier, and there was another one that he was featured in. I can't remember.
All right. So I think obviously we're to part the curtain a little bit so you guys see what's kind of going on behind the scenes. We are reworking 6 Degrees of Separation here, just slightly.
Yeah.
And we're not going to spoil what it's going to be.
We're going to leave it at that for now.
Right.
We have some ideas of brewing.
And it's going to start next week, which I'm kind of excited for. So, Mikeal?
Yes.
This week, you need to work on your impressions.
Impressions. Any particular ones you want me to work on?
Let's do
just all of them.
Just all of them. Okay.
Every person that's an actor or an actress.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Can we do some test ones really quick?
Sure.
All right. So Mikeal, do Morgan Freeman.
Ever since I was a little boy, people have enjoyed the sound of my voice.
That's great.
That's a solid one. Do Joan Rivers.
Got nothing.
No. This is the thing. We have to start going with this.
Hi, I'm Joan Rivers.
It's great.
That's really solid.
It's a little more like this. Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool. Thanks for the help there.
All right. I've got what Joel, give Mikeal 2 impressions.
I would like to hear your... Let's see. I would like to hear your Samuel L. Jackson.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of
getting
just
into
like
character.
something to say besides his wonderful bedtime.
Give me the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay.
I'm worried about this one
Go
here.
ahead. Go ahead. You got it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
That's good.
Okay.
Not bad.
I got one more I want to hear from you. I'd like to hear Christopher Lloyd. Yes.
Doing
Christopher Lloyd doing
Taylor Swift's Shake It Off.
All right. I stay out too late. Got nothing in my brain.
Okay, you don't need to go
Marty, shake it off. Shake it off, Marty.
Great. See, you've got more up your sleeve than you even knew, man.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
All right, you guys, I have a game that I'd like to play.
All right, let's do this.
This is a fun thing, and it's a little bit of a twist on things that we usually do, but this is going to be a lot of fun. Now, you cannot use your phones or computers.
Sorry.
So this is a non-Google game, okay? Here's what's going to happen.
Google-less game.
Here's what's going to happen. The game is called Which Reel is Real, okay?
Okay.
So I have 5 movie synopses here.
Okay.
You have to-
Synopses.
Synopses. You have to tell me which are real and which are not.
All right. That sounds fun.
And for I'm going to mark them down on the scorecard here, and whoever has more correct answers at the end will be the winner.
All right.
Okay? All right. So you're going to go first. Pick a number between 1 and 5.
5.
Okay. The other two that are, by the way, the other two, there are 2 that are fake. There are 3 that are real. The 2 that are fake, I just made up. Okay, so here we go. Here's your first. Is it real? Which real is real? Okay.
So, okay, is the title, is it real? Which one's real is real?
Which reel is real?
Which
is
reel?
the title of the game.
Which will is real?
Which reel is real?
Homestar10.net.
Listen. Candles of the Dead. When a poor, aging undertaker starts stealing leftover candles from funerals, he finds that their use makes him feel younger and stronger. He discovers that the younger the deceased is, the more powerful and youthful he gets. Townspeople become concerned not only when the undertaker's unknown son takes over the business, but when teenagers in town begin mysteriously disappearing and dying every week.
All right.
Is that real or not?
Is it real or is it not?
And the title of the movie?
real.
Charles says it's real. Okay. What do you say?
What was the title of the movie again?
Candles of the Dead.
I could see that being real.
I
gonna
know.
say it's real.
Okay, we got 2 real answers there. I'm not going to give you the answers until the end of the game.
Okay.
Excellent.
Pick a number between 1 and 4.
3.
Okay. This one is called The Saga of the Viking Women and Their Voyage to the Waters of the Great Sea Serpent.
That's the title?
That's the title.
Okay, can you say that one more time, please?
The Saga of the Viking Women and Their Voyage to the Waters of the Great Sea Serpent.
Got it.
The Viking women are awaiting the return of their Viking men from a hunting expedition and, growing tired of the long wait, set sail in search. In a storm, their ship is destroyed, and they are washed upon an island where they find their Viking men being kept prisoners by a band of barbarian warriors. With much resourcefulness, they rescue the menfolk and head home, pursued by the hostile warriors. The warriors are soon destroyed by a sea monster, who then turns its attention to the Vikings. The sea monster is eventually destroyed by one powerful strike of a Viking sword. Is it real or not?
Man, that sounds... amazing and absurd at the same time. When was this movie made? May I ask that?
I don't have any years written down.
Okay,
so I don't-
okay.
They're all old. I'll just tell you that.
I think
That being said, I'm gonna go with not real.
I'm gonna go with real. Let's mix this up a little bit.
You said real. You said not real. Okay. All right. 1, 2, or 4.
1.
Okay. A bucket of blood.
Bucket of blood.
Walter Paisley, a nerdy busboy at a cafe, is jealous of the talent and popularity of its various artistic regulars. After accidentally killing his landlady's cat and covering the body in plaster to hide the evidence, he is acclaimed as a brilliant sculptor, but his newfound friends want to see more of his work. Lacking any artistic talent whatsoever, Walter has to resort to a similar method to produce new work, and soon people start mysteriously disappearing. Is it real?
I'm gonna say that's not real.
Okay, CJ says no. What do you think?
I'm gonna have to agree.
Not real.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
It feels a little bit too much like Little Shop of Horrors. I think that's
All right,
okay.
All right.
Maybe it's the original Little Shop of Horrors.
No, the original Little Shop of
that
Horrors
was
is Little Shop of Horrors.
older. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 2 or 4?
4.
Okay. A horse and other gifts.
Okay.
After losing her husband and son in a train fire, novelist Judith Timber finds herself lonely on her ranch and no longer interested in writing. When a woman traveling by horse calls in need of a place to rest, Judith hesitantly offers her a place to sleep and board her horse. Days later, she wakes to a note from the woman thanking her and leaving the horse to her as a gift in exchange for hospitality and friendship. The horse inspires Judith to write about him and colorful flowers. Soon she discovers that no matter where the horse sleeps for the night, colorful flowers appear there the following morning. She writes of a beehive and a well and finds out whatever she writes about appears the following morning, so she writes about a vision from her late husband and son. Is it real?
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say that's real.
I'm gonna say it's real too.
And it sounds like a lead-in to Stranger Than Fiction.
All right.
Last one. The Wasp Woman. Janice Starlin, the owner of a cosmetics firm, sees that her fading beauty is causing waves in her personal life and business. Pseudoscientist Eric Zinthrop claims to have developed a serum from the enzymes of wasps that will turn her aging skin to youthful. She agrees to be the first human to try the injections, and as soon as her beauty returns, colleagues notice that she is also having a nasty personality change. Soon, Zinthrop gets hit by a car and can no longer make the serum. Janice turns into a wasp-like woman. Is it real?
I'm gonna say false.
Not real.
I'm gonna say that's not a thing.
Okay.
I'm gonna disagree just because of the current show I'm in. You know, Taming of the Shrew. There's actually the line, "If I be too waspish, best beware my sting." So I'm gonna say it's real.
All right, now go from the top down.
indeed.
All right. Bucket of Blood, about the guy who covers a cat in plaster. That is a real movie.
No way.
Absolutely is.
Did I say false?
You both got that one wrong.
Oh, we both got it wrong.
Wasp Woman is also real.
No way.
I'm wondering
Michael
if
said
he's...
no. Michael said yes. CJ said no. So
I'm
Michael got
wondering
one.
if Joel's tricking us and if all of these are actually real and they just seem too out there. We'll find out.
I'll keep going. The saga of the Viking women and their voyage to the waters of the Great Sea Serpent is real. CJ got that one right. Michael got that one wrong. You both got one point apiece. The Horse and Other Gifts is not real. I made that up.
Oh.
And you both said that one was real, so you both got that one wrong.
All right.
Candles of the Dead.
Here's the winner because we went both opposite on this one, didn't we?
Did we?
No, you both
No,
said
we
real,
both said
and
real.
you're both wrong. I made that one up. as
Candles
well.
of the Dead as well. So you actually wrote these premises?
My.
I
Probably.
wrote Candles of the Dead and A Horse and Other Gifts.
Oh my gosh. So did you find the movie title and write a premise based on what you thought it could be about?
Oh, no.
No?
These are all fully fabricated.
Excellent. Okay.
You both got one right out of 5, which is fail. So,
Are we going to have like a tiebreaker?
Yes.
I
No.
could look one up, but I won't have it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you a tiebreaker next time.
Fair enough. That was fun.
Yeah,
I
that
like
was good. That was fun.
I had fun putting that together.
Not
so
bad.
I want to see those movies.
I
Me too.
might want to see them.
I want to make those movies if they haven't been made already.
All right, gentlemen.
Candle of the Dead sounds so much fun.
All right. I have a thing that we need to talk about. I've got a
Okay.
question for us to all to deliberate.
In pleasing baritone.
Yes. So let's talk Desert Island picks.
Ooh.
One movie, one album, one book. What you got?
Okay. We get this question submitted actually quite often, and we put it off a few times. So I'm glad we're
Yeah, we've
finally
never
doing it.
answered this.
But
So who is there somebody specific that keeps
I actually, whenever I ask for questions, this question gets sent in like usually two or three times.
name one person who said it before?
I know Hello Billy submitted it. She sent us
Thank
question
you,
before.
Hello Billy.
My friend Brittany sent it in. Michelle, I believe Josh has sent it in. Handful of people that come to mind. So yeah.
I'm wondering if based on what we newly experience, we can adjust these lists for ourselves. What do you think?
Are we choosing each other's?
No. I'm saying if we come back to this question in a month. And say,
mine are going to be the
has
same.
this changed?
Yeah. No, mine are going to be.
Then never mind.
I don't know about you guys. But
If
mine will be the
if
same.
you leave the desert island and come back, what do you bring in next
What are you
month?
bringing next time you're stranded? Who wants to start? Anybody?
I guess I'll go ahead and
Go
start.
ahead.
Mine will seem a little strange, but I have plenty of reasoning behind this.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right. So I'm going to say movie, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Michael Cera, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
I dig it. Every single time I watch the movie, I find something new
You
that I
find something new every time. I could watch that frame by frame and analyze it for years.
Uh-huh.
I absolutely could.
Okay.
So there's that.
It's on my list.
That is a perfect
haven't
movie.
seen it
It
yet.
is a perfect movie.
It is the closest to perfect that I know of.
Great. Album.
Album, Scott Pilgrim, The Game,
The album.
soundtrack.
Okay.
And that because of shadowboxing and just my imagination, because I have played the game and I could also invent new ways in my brain to play the game while listening to the soundtrack, and that would be a great source of entertainment for me.
And I mean, like, the whole soundtrack is done by the band Anamanaguchi, and I don't know if you've ever listened to them before. They do a bunch of, like, 8-bit music and stuff like that. Really good.
Yeah,
really good.
Yeah, it's a good pick. And I mean, because most of what I listen to on a regular basis is either musical theater or comedy artists, you know, and I think that would get very old very quickly, as opposed to something that's just an excellent composition, no lyrics, and you can really let your imagination run wild.
Okay. Fair enough.
And book.
Yeah, your book.
Can you guess what it is?
Is it Scott Pilgrim?
Scott Pilgrim, Precious Little Life.
Is that the whole set? of Scott
That
Pilgrim?
is, no, I think we had to pick one book, right? You can't pick an entire series.
One
one book.
One
So
book.
is it
So
is that
Precious Little Life
Is that the first one?
It is the first one. And I would love to compare and analyze how it differs and how it's the same as the film.
Okay. So I've got mine,
Yeah.
but I do have another question.
Okay.
How on this desert island are we watching this movie?
I know I always wonder that because this is such a silly question, but so many people ask it. That's why I felt the need to answer it. But it's like, if we have a DVD player set up and a record player, or CD player, but we can only have one book and one thing.
I'm picturing an iPad with no internet connectivity and those three things only loaded on it, and also
And a
a
charger.
solar-powered charger.
There we go. All right.
Here's how I'm picturing it.
That's a good way to think of it. Yeah.
Here's how I'm picturing it. The first season of Lost happens over the course of 25 days.
Okay.
Somebody left their laptop and they found the hatch and they found the hatch and are able to get electricity down there.
There you go. That's a good way of looking at it,
But
too.
that smoke monster wants to watch that Scott Pilgrim. He hasn't seen it yet.
I know, yeah.
It's on his bucket list. So, all right. So, movie.
Yeah.
Specifically movie. You chose Scott Pilgrim. That's okay. I would do.
You can also say Scott Pilgrim.
No, I'm gonna switch it up here.
Okay.
I would say Scott Pilgrim. No, I would say Down with. Okay, now, okay. Are we on the same island?
No.
we can't share the
You're
movies.
alone. You are alone.
You can't watch my movie.
You're alone. You're Castaway.
So, okay. Castaway's a good choice. You know, I'd be like, oh, he gets back. Maybe I will. At some point. And then I can watch all the movies. I would choose Down with Love. My favorite rom-com.
Okay.
It is. It's a great movie. Mikeal, have I made you watch it yet?
I believe my significant other made me watch it, actually.
It's so good. I'm so glad that she made you watch it. It's my favorite romantic comedy.
Down with Love.
It's hard to find. It is very difficult to
I'm
find.
still gonna write it down.
I've got a digital copy that I'll.
And then
lend
there
you.
was one that I forgot to add to my list that you mentioned. Swing Kids. I have never seen that.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Robert Sean. Is it Robert Sean Leonard or Robert Sean Leonard? Because it's a last name. And
Yeah.
so, like, because I've known
Both.
someone who has the last name Schrader, but in Charlie Brown, as a first name, it's Schroeder.
He does what Deadmau5 does, you know, the electronic artist, where he pronounces it different every single time he is asked that question.
Oh, like Jake Gowenhugel.
Yeah, exactly. You get a Leonard, and then you get a Leonard, and then you get a Leonard.
Yeah. And young Christian Bale is in that film as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's your album?
Oh, album. That's a good question. I would choose probably Michael Jackson, Black or White, which is a very interesting one, but that's something that I like and go back to.
That's not an album, though. You mean Dangerous?
No, no, sorry. I lied. I was thinking about the thing. You know what? I would probably, this is a freaking hard question, man, that I probably should have thought of before we started doing the podcast. Let's be real here.
You got a book?
Yeah, I've got a book.
What's your book?
The Stand.
The Stand. Okay, good
Stephen
book.
King, The Stand. It's a toss-up between that or House of Leaves. House of Leaves is like one of those books that I can keep going back to consistently over and over again.
All right.
If you haven't read House of Leaves, read it. It's fantastic. We've talked about it on the podcast before. I'm sure I have. It's the book where you, like, sometimes, like, pages you have to slowly turn upside down. And,
Yeah,
and then, like, you can
mentioned it
see
before.
through the book sometimes.
Yeah.
It's cool. Album. All right. Joel, go.
Okay, I'll list my stuff and then we'll come back to you. By the way, I have to mention my honorable mentions. But for a movie, now I had to think about this for a while, but for a movie, I am going to go with A League of Their Own because there's so many feelings in one movie: happiness, sadness.
That's always a good balance.
Big was almost going to be it, but Big is pretty much. I don't know. Big. I also like Forrest Gump, Sister Act, and Pulp Fiction. Those were all on my list. But A League of Their Own is the one I decided to go with.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Well, there's a little Tom Hanks theme there, but hey.
Oh, but mine was heavily themed, so
Yeah, exactly. As far as album, this was toughy because it was between two, and I went with the one that people aren't expecting me to say because Weezer's Blue Album is my favorite album. But to bring one with me to listen to for the rest of time or for however long I was on an island would be Turn It On Again by Genesis because there's more variation in the music and it's longer. Honorable mention, of course, Blue by Weezer, Rhythm Nation by Janet Jackson, Broken by Nine Inch Nails, Changes Bowie by David Bowie, and The Dance by Fleetwood Mac. Oh, and Shepherd Moons by Enya.
Wow.
Which some may find surprising on my list, but it's there. And book, I've read this book about 15 times. It's called 100 Ghastly Little Ghost Stories. I've got all the tabs on stories I like, but I still read the ones that I don't as much.
That sounds like a very good
it's
pick
easily
for you.
the one I would pick. And then honorable mention is my huge stack of ghost books that are next to my bed.
See, I know Scott Pilgrim the movie, but given my memory, like, I honestly might want to take a book that I've never read before just because it's a new experience.
Yeah, I thought about that too, but I was like, eh.
All right, it's a gamble.
I have my album
Okay.
to go over that really quick for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Daft Science by the artist known as Coins. Now, here is why I chose this album. It is a Daft Punk, Beastie Boys mashup album.
Ooh.
And it's so good. And it's like it's like I get two bands in one.
That's a good slick move.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool, man. Yeah, I'm glad we did that. We've been, like I said, that one's been one that's been on our radar for a while. So thank you to everyone who has submitted that question.
Not literally everybody, but like
Literally
a majority of people
who have sent that in.
Yes.
Yeah. So there we go. And that was the end
That's
of
a
that.
good one. I'm glad we finally covered that very common media question that we should have answered a long time ago.
Now, isn't there a very special anniversary this week?
There sure is.
You were telling me about this.
Yeah. So the classic Michael Keaton film Beetlejuice, as it turns out, is exactly 8 days older than I am.
Oh.
Wow.
Because they are celebrating their 30th anniversary of that movie just not too long ago, and my birthday, well, by the time this episode comes out, will have already passed my 30th birthday. So that was a fun little piece of trivia. I would like to hear your alternate ending to Beetlejuice.
Okay.
Now, before we begin, can we talk about
Beetlejuice.
No, don't do it, Michael. Can we talk about how this is the most Tim Burton movie of all time? Do you agree with that, Joel? Because I think, like, looking at his entire the Tim Burton anthology, as it were, the discography,
Culminating in Big
now
Eyes,
listen,
which is not a
because
Tim Burton.
It is obviously it is very Tim Burton, but okay, you look at Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, Nightmare Before Christmas, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Batman, Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, it's so true. Like,
there are big ones that I think of that are more musical, and there are other ones that are less comedic and more fantasy.
That's true.
I don't know. Alice in Wonderland. Yeah.
Okay, I
All
forgot.
very unique
I
styles.
wouldn't agree with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
No.
As the most Tim Burton movie. I wouldn't even, Nightmare Before Christmas. I love Nightmare Before Christmas, but I don't think it has some of the same feel to it. Like the really like it can get screwed up, right? But it doesn't get like super weird. Like,
Yeah. I think there is also an element of heart that's got to be in every movie.
yeah.
And Beetlejuice doesn't have as much heart as many of his others.
I agree with that.
I would
too.
say Edward Scissorhands for me is probably.
You know what? I may lean into Batman Returns. Honestly,
That was an excellent Tim Burton film.
I mean, the Danny DeVito like spewing up black sludge is so Tim Burton.
Yep.
Maybe you're right. Edward Scissorhands is, I think, maybe
It's got comedy. It's got heart. It's got fear.
right. But does it have that? Yeah, it does, because I mean, Edward Scissorhands in himself is like the super freaking weird contrast with the normal, right? Like what I was thinking of this whole thing is like the scene where we first kind of meet Winona Ryder's character, right? When they're sitting at the dinner table, right? And they're wearing like nice like dress clothes and stuff like that, and she's wearing like this like widow's garb with like a giant freaking like widow shawl over her face.
And I also think the thing that, well, okay, this is tough because Edward Scissorhands, not my favorite story.
No.
The story's actually kind of lame. It's all about the visual in that show for me. Movie. Anyway, so we have some alternate endings here.
Yeah.
Who wants to kick this sucker off?
Why don't you, Mr. Joe?
I'll kick this sucker off. I have 3 major plot point differences, and I'm going to list them all.
Okay.
So Beetlejuice kills Charles Dietz when he drops him off the staircase.
Yeah.
Okay, so Charles Dietz dies and ends up living in the attic with the Maitlands. Okay?
Okay.
Lydia kills herself because the Maitlands are tending to Charles, so they can't stop her. Okay? So Lydia kills herself and becomes a typist in the Netherworld waiting room where she befriends Miss Argentina.
That would be so fun. I like that one.
Yeah.
Because, they say if you kill yourself, you become a servant in the afterlife. Delia Anotho, no longer with a daughter or a husband, or stepdaughter and husband, opened an interior designing firm in the house.
Spin-off.
And they give Winter River an entire makeover.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a sort of spin-off.
Okay.
Where Beetlejuice goes and works with Mikeal in The Good Place.
Okay.
Beetlejuice.
The Good Place, the show with
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
takes it in a whole new direction.
I really want to yes and this, Michael.
Okay.
But how the afterlife works in those two movies are completely different.
Yeah, and maybe they wanted to revamp. You know?
Okay.
The powers that be decided, this isn't working. We're going to try something a little more whimsical.
Yeah, I feel like anything can happen in Beetlejuice land.
Yeah, they go to Neptune.
Yeah, it's
They like open a door and they're on like Neptune with sandworms.
Sandworms, you hate them, right?
Just say my name 3 times. Sorry, I have to do my Michael Keaton.
Okay.
So here's I kind of wanted to play out this off with you, Joel.
Okay.
What would happen if the Dietzes and the Maitlands didn't get along in the end? Like, do you see them ripping the house apart? Pretty much to, like, they're both wanting that house, right? So what would happen if it became kind of like civil war, like the living versus the dead? Who would win in that scenario?
Yeah, okay. Here's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
The Dietzes are selfish, and I think that they've already altered the house. I don't know if they would necessarily destroy it, but they would make the Maitlands uncomfortable if they didn't get along, I think. And they did, in a sense, in the middle of the movie. The Maitlands, in turn, would haunt the shit out of the Dietzes with the help of Juno and Beetlejuice and everybody else. So that could be a Beetlejuice too, which supposedly is being created.
That's so okay.
I don't know if that's happening or not.
Really cool if Michael Keaton's in that.
I don't know if it's happening or not. It seems that so many people say that it is. Like, it's not on IMDb.
No, like with that, I've heard a lot of rumors about that, and the rumors about Bill and Ted 3, the photo that they released this last week of Bill and Ted, like as their like current.
Release it on the first.
No.
Okay.
This is them in a phone box like last week. Them as their age right now, and they both look pretty darn tasty.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both like attractive young men, not young men, but older men. And it's like, oh my God, it's crazy that we're talking about Bill and Ted 3 and Beetlejuice 2, right? But let's.
So does Silver Fox Keanu Reeves give you that same tingle down there that Jeremy Jordan does when he sings?
Have you seen the Squarespace commercials where his head is a floating head in space with text wrapping around it?
No.
It is so tasty.
Haven't seen that.
It's on Instagram all the time.
Okay.
For me anyways. Maybe it's because I liked it once and they're like, he likes Keanu Reeves. Let's keep this shit going. But yeah, I mean, that's the only one that I really had for that.
Okay.
I'm obviously really prepared this week. So
I don't know what that was.
So it could happen. It might happen. We do not know.
So Michael.
Yes.
Joel, I'm going to do this first really quick.
Okay.
I'm betting you $10 that Michael has not seen this film.
What, Beetlejuice?
Have you seen Beetlejuice?
Are we going to place a bet or?
I don't have the money right now to give you, but I can do it possibly next week.
I am not willing to make that bet because you probably haven't.
Fair enough. I have not.
Okay, so here is what I need from you, Michael.
You should watch it.
Here's what I need from you. How does Beetlejuice end? I want to know, first off, what is the plot? From what you've heard,
what I've gathered, he's an afterlife sort of zombie ghost-esque.
He has a job title. What is that job title?
He might be some sort of angel of death, I would say.
Okay.
Close.
Okay.
He's the afterworld's leading bioexorcist.
Yeah, so he exercises those real life people. Yeah.
Okay.
I got demons running all through me. Anyway.
Gotcha.
So
all right.
that.
Okay, so Beetlejuice, right? The bioexorcist. Why? Okay, what's going on there?
He's working and somebody is causing some trouble in his job. Somebody is not able to be exorcised.
Like exercised or exorcised?
Exorcised. I pronounced it correctly.
Okay, yes. So somebody is not able to be exorcised, right?
Correct.
So Beetlejuice goes to help them out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what happens?
I would say he succeeds in the sense that he still gets to keep his job because there is talk of a sequel. And either that or he fools the powers that be into thinking he succeeded even though he did not. That would be my guess.
You are so spot on
Yeah?
with this guess
Yeah.
that I don't even know if you need to watch the movie.
Yeah.
All right. Yay! I'm getting better at predicting plots and stuff.
April Fools.
Get it? Because that was a week ago. Yeah.
But you should watch it.
I should.
It's good. Gina Davis, Alec Baldwin, Michael Keaton, Catherine O'Hara,
Fabulous cast.
Winona Ryder.
Yeah. I was planning on watching it today before
Glenn
this
Shadix.
episode, but I couldn't
Jeffrey
find it on
Jones.
any of the subscription-based video.
Yeah,
services.
it's not online.
Yeah.
Also, this is a very long episode.
That's
guys.
all right. That's all right. That's all right.
That's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Anyways.
Oh yeah, we've been like over an hour and a half at this. haven't we?
Yo.
Wow.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
So, thank you. All
welcome.
of you.
Welcome.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
What?
That was all of them.
I don't understand.
I don't either. Let's just move along.
All right. Thanks.
You're
for
welcome.
The thing that we say every week, and my name is it's a name.
Mm-hmm.
My name is also a name. Hey, we should totally hang out.
My name is Joel Adam Chavis. It's like Travis, but with a CH. Chavis.
I'm glad that you
Joel Adam
remembered how to pronounce it.
You still have the R in there, so it's like a Travis.
No, it's Joel Adam
Chavis?
Chavis.
Chavis?
It's
Okay.
Chavis.
Chavis.
No R.
Chavis.
No T. Just Chavis.
You gotta like
There's no T in my name.
get the dictionary.
And have yourselves a wonderful week.
So what did you say last week? It was
I said Chavez.
Chavez. Oh.